A lot of people see the rise of an extraordinary, important new constituency in American politics, Hispanics, who will come here and all be Democrats. Also, I hear when I push people a little harder, I don't know whether I want brown grandbabies. I mean, that's also a part of it. It's the intermarriage that is going on and the cultures that are conflicting with each other. I also happen to believe that the Hispanics should work harder at assimilation. That's one of the things I've been saying for a long time. You know, that they ought not to be just codified in their communities, but make sure that all of their kids are learning to speak English and that they feel comfortable in the communities, and that's going to take outreach on both sides, frankly.
Why does this need to take outreach on our side? That's what I find amusing about this. Tom Brokaw should have retired. I mean, fully, after these rubbish charges of sexual abuse were laid against him. I mean, he should be able to see which way the wind is blowing. He's 79 years old next month, and my guess would be is that he's quite a rich man. He doesn't need this. He doesn't need to do this. His old-fashioned Americanism is now considered hate speech. And he apologized for what he had to say. And then he was told that his apology was not sufficient. So he apologized even harder for this. I came across this article by David Bowder at TV News Check, which lets you know where America's headed. That the website Latino Rebels and its founder Julio Ricardo Varela said blah blah blah. We as a community are creating the new America right before your very eyes, Mr. Brokaw. Sorry if it doesn't fit your perceptions of what America should be like. That future is bilingual, bicultural. At times in English, other times in Spanish. Our community is defining this future, not you. Again, it's tribe. La Raza, they call it, openly. The race.
I think Brokaw's comments sound very middle American. He's probably speaking for the sentiments of the majority of Americans.
Yeah. He says these things and he gets swatted down. And he makes an attempt to apologize and he gets swatted down harder. What's the message that sends to middle America? If you believe these things, shut the hell up or you'll get hurt. That's the message. I mean, this is Tom Brokaw we're talking about. It wasn't all that long ago where Tom Brokaw was one of the most admired men in America. He was the fellow who brought us The Greatest Generation, right?
Yes.
He was the handmaiden of The Greatest Generation, so he basked in their glory. He's an old white man. And the message is, shut up, old white man. Hurry up and die.
It's a shame that he had to make this groveling apology. It would have been nice if he just stood behind his words.
People don't do that anymore. They just don't do that anymore. You know, I mentioned before, I'll mention it again, Tiger Woods, with his $700 million. Apparently that's not enough fuck you money to say, no, I'm not going to give a horrifying press conference in front of my family and the media. Just sort of apologizing over and over again for vague things. Why did he have to do that? Why does anyone have to do that? You know, I understand that, you know, when the HR lady calls you in and says that some joke, you were overheard saying a joke at lunch. Yeah, but this was a private lunch. It doesn't matter. People from the company overheard you making this joke, which constitutes a hostile work environment. You are on notice. Now, when the HR lady tells you that, and you think about your mortgage, and you think about your 2 kids, you think, yeah, I guess I won't be making any more jokes of any kind anymore. And I can understand that. But, you know, we were talking about the Stoics last Friday. Tom Brokaw isn't a slave, you know. No one is threatening Tom Brokaw with exile or death. But, you know, they just, you know, they gotta grovel. They all have to grovel. I don't know what Tom Brokaw is afraid of. He's not in any position where anyone can really harm him. But I guess, you know, right. It occurs to me that he is old enough so that he has this view of democracy which was formed by television, which is that everyone gets along. Everyone arrives at a consensus, and it is harmful to stand against the consensus. This was the kind of democracy which flourished in the West until the rise of the internet and the rise of high-definition TV. His kind of democracy is it's finished, because hot statements are valuable now. Now, the hot statements are coming publicly from the progressives. They're coming largely sort of anonymously from the alternative right, or whatever you want to call it. But with each example like this, someone like Tom Brokaw, and of course he was chosen to be destroyed largely because of his preeminence, because he is so well liked. But each time something like this happens, people break in the United States, and they decide, okay, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I'm simply not going to put up with it anymore. Here's one example. That, okay, we don't have a melting pot anymore. All right. We have multiculturalism. All right. What does that mean? Well, it means these people come from foreign countries to the United States, and they're hostile, openly hostile, saying that they will not assimilate. And guess what? They hate Americans because Americans are white and racist. So the obvious question is, when is that wall going to be built? And when is immigration going to be brought down to zero?